talk to you about prepping the molds and how I cut a piece of tape and clean it up. But I want to go ahead and show you today everything that I do to prep my molds before I do anything with them. And that's because I want them to be around for a long time. I don't want them to disintegrate or to tear or whatever. And when you do your molds or you prepare your molds, you want to make sure that they're clean. But usually when you clean them, a lot of times things like this is going to happen. You're going to still have glitter on them. So I'm going to show you what I do to clean my molds, get them prepped and ready so that they will be happy with me and do what it is I want them to do. Cutting a piece of packing tape. And I'm going to use my packing tape to try to get off as much glitter as I can from my mold. So when you hear me say I use tape, got off as much glitter as I could, this is what I do. And I'm going to tell you, these were cleaned with Dawn soap and dried. You do not want any water in your molds when you get ready to use them, because if you do, you will have voids in your finished product, and it will have been a waste of epoxy and time and fun, and it'll just be very upsetting. So you want to do as much as you can ahead of time to get your molds prepped. Another thing I want to remind you is that when you store them, you need to store them flat, because if they are bent in any way, I had one I wanted to do for you guys that got put away without being stored flat in. Now I can't do it. So I have hot water in it right now, hoping that it will reshape itself. But there's a good chance that I may not be able to use it again and I'll have to rebuy. But this is one of the things that I do. All I'm doing is pulling up as much of the glitter out of here as possible. It does get sticky. So first wash it with Dawn soap and water and try to get your glitter out. Because if you're doing any kind of clear mold and you don't want the glitter to show and there's glitter in your mold, it'll show. So now I know that there's a good chance I'm probably not going to be able to get all the glitter out of these molds. But for demonstration purposes, I wanted to show you what I meant by I use tape to get my glitter out. And chances are when I do my pour, to show you what the cloud is, I'm probably going to pull up all this resin anyway. And it's okay, because this isn't stuff that I'm going to sell. Now, if you're going to sell it or give it away and you don't want your glitter in it, then you want to be able to get all of it out as much as you can. I'll probably take this up front and try to clean it again. This one right here does not have any glitter in it. It was cleaned. At one point, there was fingernail polish that was used on this, and so it's okay. It's not going to come up on your resin, but if there's any glitter, it will. Another one we're going to be using today is our cup holder mold for your car. Cut a piece of other tape. I don't think this one's working anymore. We're going to do that one as well. And then a lot of you know that I make jewelry, and so I'm going to be using this jewelry mold here. This is not sold by Puzzle Tumblers, so but I know I'm going to have leftover resin, so I'm going to pour it in there as well so that you can see what it looks like. But I'm also going to be making one of these. Ooh, look, when you have a really sticky piece of tape, it does come up very well. This is from Puzzle Tumblers. It is a can opener mold. Great idea for Christmas. That's 178 days away. So if you want something that's really great and really different, these are great. They come with the hardware. I will link it below. And so we're going to be doing one of these, and probably one of these, and then whatever I have left over, I'm going to make some jewelry with. So let me get my, oh, I need to point out as well, I also spray it down with the silicone spray. And what this is, it's it's kind of like Pam for your silicone molds. It's going to help. It's kind of like it's a release, and it's going to prep all of your molds ahead of time so that when you get ready to pull up your resin, it's not going to stick to your molds and tear them. So anyway, I'm going to mix up my epoxy and I will be back in just a bit. But now you know how I prep my molds to get them ready to have fun with. Okay, I have 80 milliliters of A and 80 milliliters of B, equal parts epoxy. I have stirred it so where it went from separated to opaque to clear. You want to make sure that when you get ready to pour your epoxy that it is clear. And that's what I've done. It does have a few bubbles in it. That's okay. In a little bit, when it comes time, I'm going to use my embossing gun to get as many bubbles out as I can. Another thing we're going to be using is alcohol inks. I have chosen a few to use. I am going to use Mojito. A little bit of this green. I'm going to think this is lime green. I'm really not sure. Some epoxy got on it, but we need some type of yellow. We will use crimson. And I do have a purple here. We'll think about it. This is amethyst. And I have a blue out. This is sailboat blue. So we have all of these from Tim Holtz. And then I also have from Pinata the white. And I have it in the little needle jar because it is easier to control this way. One thing I want to point out is that you need to make sure that when you get ready to use your alcohol inks that they are shaken very well. And the reason for that is because alcohol inks will settle and your alcohol will separate from the color, and then when it comes time for you to use them, you're using either straight color or straight alcohol, and then the next time you use them it won't have the exact same ratio in it. And it's the same with the white. The white does have alcohol in it, and you want to make sure that it's not separated. I am going to use a measuring cup. I put a little divot in the side here. I'm going to try to put my gloves on. It is warm here in Texas, and I have been trying to get these on now for the last half hour. Washed my molds, and then I walked around and my hands got really wet. Oh, they went on. I would like to suggest that you do use your gloves because you don't want to touch your epoxy. It is toxic. All right, here we are. Good. I'm looking to see if you are on there with me. Now, again, make sure all of your alcohol inks are shaken up. You don't want really dark inks such as browns or blacks because they will get very muddy and it will not give you the look that you're wanting. You want the lighter colors. Another reason I wear my, I'm gonna pull in the orange as well. Another reason I wear my gloves is I don't like alcohol ink on my hands. We're gonna start with this one right here, which is the coaster for tables, or you can even use this as a trivet if you need to. We'll start with purple. This is the amethyst. And you're just going to drop it around the outside edges. Drop it on my coaster here. I'm going to start over here on my bottle openers. Okay, now we're going to move to our next color. Let's see, I would have gotten that all over me. Fun times. I think we're going to go with our red. I'm going to try to keep that away from the purple. When you start dropping your alcohol inks into your molds, it'll start pushing the inks away from each other. And if you get them too close together, they'll start looking muddy. Very good. Over here. Next, I'm going to put some green in. In between our colors here. And if they mix, you know, yellow and blues make greens, that's okay. You want to try to fill up your space as much as you can. See, this one's already starting to try to take over each other, but I think that is so cool looking. I'm going to use some blue. We don't use purple. This is a lot like when you make your, whoops, I got that too close to the red and that might muddy up on me, so be very careful. When you do the cups and you apply the white to the epoxy, to the alcohol ink, that's what this is a lot like. And then finally, we're going to put some orange in here just to give it the lighter. I think I might put a little bit of yellow too, just because yellow is such a pretty color. The orange on the outside. I mean, this alone is really, really pretty. But when you apply that white, it gets so pretty. We're going to remember we're applying the white two different ways. I'm going to apply it with the pour method, and then I'm going to use some of the white to drop into each, so where they sell out, so that you can see the two different ways that you can do this. Use a little bit of this yellow green just to get some of the yellow in there. You don't want too many colors. You don't want it to be muddied up, but I also want some of this lighter color in here. Okay, I think that'll do it. Now we have these beautiful colors together. We are going to take the white. I'm going to put a little doohickey in here, and I'm going to pour this no rhyme nor reason to the way I'm pouring it. Just like that. And that white is going to push that alcohol ink down, and that's what you want it to do. All right, and I'm going to do the white here as well. Have fun with it. I'm making a mess, that's fun. I know you all know how messy I can get with these. Okay, and now we're going to do the next one by dropping the alcohol ink directly onto each of the colors. And leaving this one alone. Now we can move it around a little if we want. We don't want to move it around too much. I'm probably going to move it a little bit, but not a whole lot. This is kind of like the selling that we do on our cups, but instead it's not moving, so you have to help it along just a little, but you don't want to help it too much. All right, I'm going to use my little metal stick here. And I'm going to do a couple of movements in here just to help it, like this. There we go. Yes, that is messy, but that's just me. Over here, we're going to move this one around a little. I'd add a little bit more white to this one. just like that. And then I think I'm going to add a little more alcohol ink to this one and just leave it alone to do its own thing. I don't want to mess around with it too much. I want to add a little bit more light to it. Maybe some more orange. Yeah, put some more orange in this one. And then move it over and let it do its thing. And then tomorrow when we unmold these, because they have to stay in here for 24 hours, we get to see our fun work and how much fun this can be. I'm just gonna fill in some of these areas here that have spaces. I'll add a little bit more alcohol ink to them and we will let them do their thing. So much fun. Add a little bit more alcohol ink to these. And just let them go. And that is how this right here is going to be our cloud look. You're going to love the way this looks underneath. And this one right here is going to have more of the, it's going to be reaching out. Wait till you see them. They're absolutely gorgeous. So I'm not going to mess with these too much more. I don't want to overpower them, but I don't want them to get muddy. So I'm trying to clear up some of these darker spots. Okay, very good. And I'll be right back and we'll have fun with some jewelry. Okay, now we're going to basically do the same thing, except we're going to use it for jewelry molds. Now this is a mold that I have. Jessica at Puzzle Tumblers has a bunch of different molds that are that can be used for jewelry, such as earrings and stuff. I'm going to be making some pendants, so I thought I would go ahead and use the epoxy that I have left over in the pendants. I do have epoxy. It is starting to warm up. It only has a 30-minute work time. Pour it into my molds. Do some circles. I don't know why my hand starts shaking when I pour like this. It just does. Always has. And we'll do some ovals. Yeah, as much as I can. I think I want to get a little bit of this out because I think I put a little too much in there. Good deal. You don't want them too full. You still need room to put your alcohol inks and everything. Clean up my mess a little. All right. I have any more. I have a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and use it up. We don't waste epoxy. Okay, I'm gonna do some little hearts on some squares. These are great for earrings and for necklaces. So you can do the 2 earrings. There's some earring right here. And we're going to do basically the same thing here as we did on the other molds. Clean up my mess just a tad. Making a mess. I am known for making a mess. Okay. I am taking my gloves off. I'm starting to sweat. I don't know if you guys are in South Texas, but goodness gracious, it is hot here. I do have my inks ready for me. Again, we will be using our lighter colors for some and our darker colors for others. And I also have my white that we'll add to a few so you can see the differences when we do them. All right, so we have 2 different hearts, 2 different ovals, so that way I can do one heart one way and the other heart the other so you can see the difference. I'm going to add in some green. Okay, I think that's it. There we go. Now we'll add in some orange. A lot of times when you add these in, you'll notice that they'll push each other out of the way. That's good. That's what you want it to do. You don't want them to take over each other. You don't want it to get all muddied up either. Like this one is full of green and I don't want it to be completely full. Okay. Next we'll add in some, I have some pink over here I think we're going to use. And guys, you can use whatever alcohol ink you have. It doesn't necessarily have to be Tim Holtz. This is from Let's Resin. I just don't have much room to play with, but I don't want them to get muddy. Oop. Okay. Now I like Let's Resin. I don't like the way Let's Resin smells. It's just my opinion. And then finally we'll add a little bit of blue into a few that have space left over. Another thing I haven't tried is the pearl inks, so I can't tell you how those would look. But if y'all do this and y'all use the pearls, let me know how they worked out for you. Any voids, I'm just gonna fill in. Okay, very good. This one over here needs a little bit more color. As I said, you'll see them start pushing each other out of the way. That's okay. All right, so as I said, on a few of these, we're going to drop our alcohol ink into it and let that work its way through and do its own thing. Oop, I didn't mean to do that one on that one. I knew I was gonna do that. It's okay, that way I can have matching earrings or, yeah, let's do that. Here, 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 here. I can't wait to see how this one looks. That one's gonna look pretty good. Add a little more, and you can see what it's doing. It's starting to push it around and starting to push that alcohol ink to the bottom, and that's what you want it to do. So pretty. Okay, and then the next one we're going to pour in our white. And any shape you want to do it in, you don't want to do it in drops. You want to make sure that you do it in streams, but you don't want it to overpower everything. I'll put a little on this one anyway. Like that. Probably put some over here just to use it up. Doesn't hurt, because you know you don't waste epoxy. And I think that's going to be it. And then finally, we take our instrument and we move it around a little, and you'll see why tomorrow when I unmold these. Okay, I think that's going to do it. There we go. And we're going to leave these alone. And in 24 hours, I'll be able to unmold these and show you the beautiful things that it does. And we'll be able to unmold all of the coasters as well. And then I want to see what you guys do with everything that I've just taught you. Alrighty, well, that is my beginning part of this wonderful tutorial. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, this is our coaster. I came in last night and I put a layer on top so that there was a little more on it, and so this is the mold. I don't know if you can see the beautiful pattern. My life in a nutshell with a dog barking. All right, and here is the coaster mold for the car. Ooh. And this, my friends, is the cloud. It's beautiful. Let it sit out a little longer, but this is the technique that I learned. I'm very happy with this one. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The pop can openers. Ooh, look how pretty that is. I believe we just dropped epoxy on this one, or the alcohol inks, and said, we're just going to let you do what you decide you want to do. But look how pretty all of that is. Look how pretty that is. And the next one. I've been so excited about pulling these up. I'll cut that off. Look how pretty. Remember, these are great for Christmas gifts. Also, remember, I told you if you don't get all of the glitter off, this is what happens. But this is the cloud look right here. Beautiful. And this mold comes with all of the hardware. So after this sets up a little more, I'm going to add the hardware to it. Okay, let's play with these. Excuse me. Okay, let's start with these. This one was where we just dropped the alcohol ink on top and then we dropped the white. So pretty. Now let's compare this one to the cloud technique. There we go, that's the cloud technique. I wish there were a way that this could be done on cups. I'm gonna make a necklace out of this one. So pretty. Okay, and the next one, these I believe started out the same way, and I think I messed up by dropping a piece of alcohol ink on it, and we were like, ah, that's okay. It'll be fine. So let's see what happened. Ooh, look how pretty that is, guys. It's kind of a mixture. It's going to be hard to choose which one I want to make a necklace out of, so I may be making several. Look how pretty. This one. I am in love with this. I'll be making lots and lots of these, I think. Very pretty. Okay, the next one. Now these you make earrings out of, but I think these would be really pretty on a necklace as well. Let's go with the hearts. This one I believe we did the drop and we let it just do what it wanted to do. And then here's your cloud technique. Look how pretty that is. So pretty. I cannot wait to make more of these. Look at that one, guys. Oh, I am in love with this one. Look how pretty that is. Look at that. I could look at these all day. I'm in love. Now we're going to go with this one. This one was the drop, so there should be spores in this one. And there are. That's what those are. There's the little spores because they drop down. They're long tentacles. Like that. Look how pretty that is. Okay, teardrop earrings. This was the cloud. That one's kind of interesting. I don't know what I think about that one. And then I believe this was the drop. Oh, that's neat. So spores. But see at the top, I had a piece of white that did a breakthrough. It's still pretty neat. I'll have to look at these. Now these right here, I had extra white epoxy and I wanted to see what would happen if you had the white epoxy and you just dropped the alcohol ink on it. That's cute. It's interesting. I don't know if I'll do it again. Make some cute buttons. And this one, same, nothing special. A few more. This one didn't turn out quite as well as the other clouds, and sometimes they do that. This is what happens when you get too muddy. You mess with it too much, which I'm very known for. Not bad. Whoops. All right, the square. This one is the cloud, I believe. Yes, this is the cloud. This kind of does its own thing. I'll have to file it down some. That one is pretty okay. I mean, I can see it as a necklace. Not my favorite. Here's the drop. Oh my gosh. I think I'm more in love with the drop technique than I am. You'll have to excuse my dog barking in the back room. We got a new kitten and she barks at her constantly and I can't get her to stop. But look how awesome that is. As I said, when it comes to the drop, I think that's my favorite technique. I like the cloud, don't get me wrong, but I really love that drop. It is so much fun. Okay, the last two, and I'm pushing up from the bottom. This is the cloud, and okay, that's pretty cool. That looks like a dragon eye. What do you think? Of course, now's the time that the trash people would show up. And finally, the drop. Nope, this is a cloud too, and guys, this is probably the most interesting one that I've done. What do you think? Huh. Just gonna sit and look at these for a little while and see all of the different colors and the different shapes. I love this. This is the cloud right here, that white. And this is the one where I put all of the dye into the alcohol, the epoxy, and then we drizzled it on. And then finally, last night, if it's too close, but here is the cloud cup. Same situation. You can see where the alcohol ink, the epoxy floated on top. And this is by adding the white. And then later on I came in and I added a little more blue. I thought it needed some blue. There's that lace technique I showed the other day, pushing it up with the heat gun. And so now you know that you can make several things with the cloud technique. This looks like the ocean, but I'm sure there are ways to get this to look more like a cloud, but I just love it. Everything's floating on the top. You'd have to see it up close to see what I'm talking about, but all of that is floating on top of that original set of clouds that we did because we let that epoxy heat up, harden up just a little bit, not much. You don't want it to be too hard. So there you go, my friends. You have jewelry. We have coasters. Car coasters. This one, I just can't stop looking at. Oh, look at how pretty that is. And we have bottle openers and all of the jewelry that we made. So guys, think about all of this for Christmas. Think about everything that you can do with these. These are great for back to school because you know the teachers are going to be needing bottle openers. This comes with the hardware. And I will probably make one of my pieces of jewelry and show it to you guys later on so that you can see how I used these to make jewelry. So, but I believe I'm probably going to use one of these because, oh my gosh, I'm so in love. So in love. Alrighty. I hope I taught you a little bit of something new, and if you have any questions, you know I'm always here. Love that. Oh, so pretty. And there's that cloud. Pop on over to Puzzle Tumblers Facebook page. Send me a question if you have them. Pop a question down below. I will make sure to link everything that I'm using on so that you can use it as well, where I got everything. You guys have a fantastic day. Stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make a cloud on a cup. It's very easy. We're going to be making lots of epoxy. I believe this is probably going to be about 30 ml, 15 of each. Possibly a little bit more, I'm not really quite sure. Stirring it up and making sure that it's nice and clear. Next, I'm going to pour some into 4 different cups. Now I have a container underneath for a reason, because this is a messy cup to make. Best kind, I think. 4 cups. Alrighty. In each cup, we're going to put some blue alcohol ink. And the first one, we're going to put 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The second cup, we're going to put 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The third cup, we're going to put 3. 1, 2, 3. We can add more to it. You can't take it away. The fourth cup is going to be white. And that will take quite a bit. So, because we want the white to be pretty see-through. That's about 20, yeah. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to leave my blue open only because I want to make sure that I don't need to add any more. Each one of these will need 1 drop of green. Again, we can add more to it if we need to, but I don't think we're going to need to add much more green. I'm going to switch my glove really quick. I've got alcohol ink all over it. All right. ahead and stir up. Sorry, I just hit the chair. Stir up each one of these. Chances are I'm probably going to need to add a little bit more blue, but I like to wait and see. Now, epoxy or alcohol is going to want to go to the outside. That's okay. I'm going to add 2 more drops to this one. This is our 3 drop, so that would be 4 and 5. 2 more in each one after. Just because we need to make sure that they're all nice and even. So the first one will have 7 drops, 6 and 5. Here's the first one. This is the 6. It's a little less dark. We're going to make sure that our sky is like graduating up. And all I did was spray paint my cup, guys. This is a 30 straight. This is going to have the most in it. When you put this on white, it will make a huge difference. Okay, and then finally, make sure I have these in the right order, I'm going to stir our white. Our white's going to be our clouds. Once this has sat for a little bit, it will make more sense to you. So we're going to start with our darkest color and work our way up. I'm going to let this sit and thicken up a little. Twice. It's going to thicken while I put the sky on this cup. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's something I really like about this cup. A little less dark. And as I said, it is messy because we're not starting with epoxy on the cup. We're starting with it off and then adding it on. If you want a different color blue, you can do a different color blue. Remember, we're doing the night sky or the day sky, whatever you think it needs to be. This is the final coat. I'm going to add a little more blue to one of them and make one part a little darker. Make it a little more blue. And add this on. Just to give it a little bit of contrast. Ooh, I'm sorry about the way my turner sounds. Needs a little bit of help, it sounds like. Next, I'm going to take my heat gun and heat it up a little so it'll be a little more smooth. We don't want it to be perfectly smooth. I do want to get this epoxy moving just a tad bit. Switch out my glove. pop those bubbles in there. We don't want any air bubbles. Okay. Next, we're going to, hit my screen again, add on some white. It's a little thicker now, not quite as thick as it needs to be. We're going to add some on. Remember, the clouds up higher are going to be a little thicker than they are down below. Let this sit just a little bit. I'm going to let this white sit and thicken up some, and then we'll come back and add more to the cup. And at that point is when you'll start seeing the clouds. Okay, it's thickened up a little, and I have added some angel wings. This is a mica powder that is from Puzzle Tumblers, and I'm going to add this on. And then on a video recently, I showed you how to move powder or your alcohol ink around to make it look like waves. We're going to do that here as well. Take our and push it up. You want it to look like clouds. Sit a little longer and you'll start seeing the clouds form. There you go. You can let your mica powder thicken up even more and add it on if you want. And it'll make even thicker clouds. But now you know how to make a cloudy sky tumbler. I hope you enjoyed it.